Alex, thanks for joining. I know...
Thank you for inviting.
Здравствуйте in Russian, I believe it's hello. Is it?
Yeah.
Or good morning?
Привет.
Okay. So, thank you for joining. This is like a really interesting topic indeed, blockchain and cryptocurrency and all the algorithmics that stands behind. It is, I've been following these threads, I mean the finance part of the topic for quite a while, and it seems so strange for many people that for cryptocurrency you don't need something to evaluate in, right? To balance with. Like if you have a normal currency, you balance that in gold. If you have a cryptocurrency, you balance that in good cloud platform or something like that. And it's delicate for people to embrace maybe or to understand what will be the next step, for instance.
I got your question. So, first of all, it's my topic was not about cryptocurrency. I don't really talk about cryptocurrency this time. It was good to talk 5 years ago, but now it's like everyone tried to be expert in cryptocurrency. And so we talk about another things, how the blockchain can help startups and SME, and I just explain how and when, which sector, and how they can change your country or your city. But regarding your topic, I can tell you that it will be always, and I mean, in the mankind history, there was a lot of standard for the exchange, for the barter, and also was a salt. So I was surprised when I was the day before in an excursion in salt mine, and then they told that the salary, the world with term came from the salt, because the Roman Empire soldiers have a portion of the salt as a salary, because salary was as a kind of equivalent, as the same like some spicy was the equivalent for the in Dutch, when the Dutch found by India, or spicy and everything. So the diamonds was nothing to 150 years ago, and the gold, when it was salt mine, it was nothing, and the gold was standard not so long period. In 1971, Bretton Woods Agreement tells that gold is not anymore standard. Then after this, it's a lot of scam come to the market with the bonds, with derivatives and everything. It was scam. So because now you have just some paper money which is not related to the gold. There is no related now your money not related to anything. Because if you have some gold in your bank, but it's not related to the gold, we have somehow dollarization of economy, but only some part of this. But now it's a big fight to go out from dollar. And there is many economy, like a China economy, and they already try to do their own things. But what is more important for the crypto world, for the crypto economy or token economy, it will be equal of the energy. So the all will be equal to kilowatt. So the kilowatt will become the new standard. And it's will be very fair, because according to the World Bank, 2030, 55% of all global economy will be in digital world. And according to Jack Ma, who is a Alibaba guy, he talk about 80%. So he is like a spaceman. But so I think some truth on the middle. So 2/3 of the global economy very soon will be in digital world, and digital world will have a demand so much energy, and energy will become standard for this, for all your barter. So because the major self-cost of everything will be energy. So the energy will be next equivalent, and that's why self-cost of Bitcoin about 90% of energy. So the energy, if you just build this infrastructure, this is energy, you invest in energy, which is convert to the infrastructure, which help you to make your business more efficient and make more happy life to the people. Forget about gold. You don't need gold anymore.
Actually, I believe we are on a heap in the current history where we could use a different equivalent for the current market movements. But then again, in energy, there are so many things missing still, like storage. We can convert it from sun, from heat, from waves, from so many things in nature. Nature provides that to us. How do you see the future of it did not develop that much. So I believe it becomes a blocker.
There is a two energy which will have a future for this moment. It's nuclear, but it's, you know, after the Japan is very shaken, but still, let's say India will.
And you cannot have it in-house.
India will be, but in-house not so big demand. You don't need just few lamps in-house. It's not big demand for the.
No, I'm talking to produce. You spoke about nuclear power.
Yeah, but if you talk about, yes, because you need you need industrial energy. You don't talk about your apartment. Your apartment consumes not so much. Your computer, your lamps, it's not compute so much. So then Elon Musk can give you green energy or something, but it's maybe 1% of all consuming. But industrial things, in infrastructure energy, this is consume so much energy, and it's only one. It's nuclear energy, because India now is an emerging country, and because India, according to forecast of Deloitte and Tash, in 2030 will be 24% of all middle class. But middle class, it's a basic, and China will be only 21%. So India will be go up. So they need a lot of energy to bring this industrial, the new industrial thing on the top, and so they will build now 12 nuclear plant. So the nuclear plant and the hydropower. The hydropower is still natural and green and quite big. So these two things. If we will create in the 2030 cold fusion, so cold fusion will help something, but we don't know because we have no test, not proof of the cold fusion, how dangerous also. This can be completely dangerous too. So electricity from the hydropower became now more green, more friendly, and this is. But all this wind, solar, and everything, it's not okay. It's not yet okay. And if you go, it's maybe in 2030 there will be more advance to help a little bit to support industrial needs, industrial consumption for the electricity, but now still not.
So just to make things clear, you're talking about investing, instead of investing in gold, in the future, let's invest in energy at a macro level?
Of course.
And in micro level, my question was actually, I should have defined it better maybe, because energy indeed, it becomes a blocker right now to produce cryptocurrency. And I sort of
so-called cryptocurrency.
Sorry?
So-called cryptocurrency.
So-called, okay.
Yeah, so-called cryptocurrency. It's just infrastructure, the hash. Doesn't matter what you make a hash rate with so-called cryptocurrency or data mining. So you need this. But then, let's say Europe have not so many energy. And then, according to the Deloitte report also, the India will grow up 24% of middle class, China 25% of middle class, Africa will grow with a middle class dramatically, with a population and some middle class in Africa. And Europe, in the USA, will go 2.9%, not 2.9 times down with a middle class. In Europe, will go 3.2% down with a, not percent, 3.2 times down of the middle class. I can agree with Deloitte and not agree with Deloitte, but Deloitte is a quite respectable analytic company, and there is some forecast. But the Eastern Europe have a much more potential future, but only case of the energy. So if you are a startup and you think about the product, which, let's say for me as an investor, I need at least startup which horizon 10 years ago, 10 years ahead. Because if I invest now, 2018, I want to make my exit to 2025 to sell someone who will be happy to recoup the investment until 2030. So I need to understand if this startup will alive in 2030, otherwise I will not make exit 2025. So in 2030, where is the energy will be huge consumption and the price, how the startup is ready, what in his roadmap, how he can cut the cost of the major portion of spending. So this is a topic which is necessary to see before you invest.
Okay, we have a question. Sergio is asking, you said that electricity could regulate the price of crypto. What do you think of proof of stake? What if electricity becomes very cheap? Will this massively decrease the price?
No. Okay. Of course, regulated. Still regulate because any crypto asset which you are mining, it's also have not. If you not go with token or coins to the stock exchange listing and play with some speculation. I mean, I talking only about infrastructure. So you need to understand about infrastructure. All this, a lot of the project who just take money from market like a ICO market, they have no infrastructure. So they have nothing to do, only idea, and they play with the games with in the crypto, but only 2-3 infrastructure, only 2-3 like a Bitcoin blockchain or Ethereum, they have infrastructure. So then it's sustainable. And if you just say to automotive, what is different between Ethereum and the blockchain Bitcoin? If you see, if you need for your needs or family or girlfriend some cars, you can buy Ferrari, you can buy Mercedes or Skoda, or Lancia or any Dacia. So you can drive, it's your, but if you need for some industrial things, you need to have a truck, you need to have a train or ships. They are slowly, but they are massive. So for this, you can use only Bitcoin blockchain infrastructure. So this is a two major difference, and they have consumption of electricity, huge consumption of the electricity.
Okay, Sergio, was that good of an answer?
Thank you. What about proof of stake? There are some new blockchain that
now it's
uses
a proof. It depends of this. Can you make a proof of stake for the nuclear power station if you put nuclear power station on your platform? In which platform? To the which have a proof of stakes? No. Of course, you need to put all some really industrial things or drones which will fly. You cannot put on the proof of stakes. You need to have a double, triple hedge of security to make really proof of stakes and proof of work in one. So but for some, maybe for payments or some small things, maybe it's enough. So you see the hash graph now just booming, and a lot of new technology come and they really good, but not for the infrastructure. You cannot put nuclear power station to some proof of stake.
Anonymous. Too many anonymous guys here, okay? From your investment experience and interaction with startups, which industries actually have functional blockchain implementations that are decentralized, not crypto?
From your investment, many things. Now it's good things for content and media, for the games, for Notar, for we did, one of my company did for government. We put 6 government already for, I mean, land and real estate to the ledger. So because we found interesting that there's a lot of government, it's like maybe all the government and state have a lot of undeclared lands or some objects. So we need to put on the ledger, then no one can make a false papers and make games. So it's a good steps. But can you imagine 1993 when the first email was invented. The first email was 1989 by test, but email start, let's say 1993. But you cannot send MP3. In 1996, when you try to download MP3, sometimes you need one night just to with this sound to download, because the bandwidth is not so wide and technology was not so wide. So we're waiting for the new 5th generation network, and then a lot of startups and idea will fly. Now it's too small neighborhood technology. So idea is a lot, but now we cannot go further with this decentralized technology because the bandwidth is not allowed us.
Another one from Lawrence. Gold mining currently consumes 475 giga, I don't know what's that. Joules, okay. And Bitcoin mining 3.6. Why are you emphasizing a doom scenario?
What do you mean doom scenario?
Well, gold mining is going to exponentially increase in energy as well. And so gold mining is going to exponentially increase in energy consumption as well. And what I noticed in the speech was that the emphasis was put on blockchain. So I'm asking,
but
why
I don't understand what is mean doom scenario. I mean,
it's like when shit hits the fan. When shit hits the fan. When something goes bad, when the whole world turns dark, that's a doom scenario. You were clarifying that it's an environmental hazard, you could say. So if we look at the difference, 125 times gold mining versus Bitcoin mining, I don't see the same pressing issues as I would see with gold.
Why?
Because gold is 125 times in terms of consumption currently, today.
Consumption of gold?
Consumption of energy.
Consumption of gold.
We're emphasizing energy today. That's what you emphasized in your speech. And you clarified that decentralized energy is going to come around.
I'm sorry, I just cannot get your question, but you answer after. I can answer to you after. Yes.
Sure.
It was some question about the ICO.
Yeah.
Also.
Unfortunately, we ran out of time. It's been like really interesting. I don't know how
Any
to do this
ICO,
again.
if you interesting, just come.
Yeah. So contact Alex directly.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Alex.